Welcome. This is Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We present to you news stories from the power sector. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, has inspected the newly installed 2x60 MVA 132 by 33 kV transmission transformer upgrade and the 433 kV feeders upgrade at the New Haven substation belonging to the Transmission Company of Nigeria in Enugu.
Addressing pressmen during the recent inspection, the minister said the transmission substation takes power from the national grid at 132 kV and steps it down to 33 kV for the Enugu Distribution Company, DISCO, to provide supply to its customers.
Enugu DISCO takes the power at 33 and takes it down to 11 and finally down to 415 volts where it comes into your home. That's when the power is safe. Now, what they do is that they use feeders to send the power to different parts of their distribution franchise, to different communities, to different towns, to different locations. That's what the feeders mean. So you saw one of the feeders there, Government House. That's the feeder that feeds Government House, and I'm sure the community around it doesn't just go to the house of the governor, but that's just the name they gave it.
Fashola said the substation will add 70 megawatts of power ready for delivery once it is switched on soon, as he noted that a megawatt could power 200 households and that the 70 megawatt could serve many homes.
What is being awaited now is a fire protection system in the transformers. So what we've done here, we've added 2 new transformers of 60 MVA each. That means an additional 120 MVA to the existing 60 MVA, which is 180 MVA, and it increases the total power intake in addition by 70 megawatt, which takes you to about 190 something megawatt for this DISCO.
He said the industrial complexes in Enugu can now be fed through the new feeders separate from the old operational feeders. The minister said Enugu DISCO will dedicate the new feeders to such industrial customers and other layouts in the states.
There are 4 new feeders that will be dedicated by the DISCO because they are the ones who know their customers. So they are the ones who will decide who is going to receive it.
Responding on the intervention of the federal government to boost the operational capacity of the DISCOs, the minister said government was providing more equipment to boost the distribution network capacity during the year. He encouraged state governors to also intervene in the DISCOs serving their states.
I'm also encouraging state governors to intervene in DISCOs that serve their states through distribution transformers, which is usually the main equipment that is problematic, and also the lines. But citizens have their own responsibility as well. Tampering with transformers, illegal connection of lines, not paying bills, and so on and so forth really does not help the DISCOs. They need money to invest so that they can serve you.
He emphasized that government's intervention in the distribution networks was because after the privatization, the 3 tiers of government and the workers retained 40% of the shares and would want firms to improve their operation.
We're shareholders in that DISCO, so we need it to do well. So federal government can intervene, state government can intervene, and local government can intervene in their communities by way of investment into a company that needs to take 2,000 megawatt of power waiting, and more is coming to the people in the grassroots. So you understand why we are part owners, so we can intervene to improve.
On the off-grid aspect of power supply, Fashola urged investors to key into the eligible customer policy to decentralize access to power by contracting power directly from the generation companies, GENCOs, through TCN. He also spoke of the mini-grid policy that enables investors to build on grid that is less than 1 megawatts for rural areas and underserved communities.
we encourage people to do that, especially rural and unserved or underserved communities. So this will help us really decentralize power distribution. This is the restructuring of power. Some will take their power from the grid, some will take it off grid, small grids. And this is the small grids are where solar panels are very useful, solar power in your house. There is no reason why you can't put solar power in your house and say you don't want power from the public again. There is no law that says that you must use public power.
Ahead of the launch of the regional electricity market scheduled for 29th June in Benin Republic, the ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority and the West African Power Pool has met with key operators in the Nigerian power sector to chart a way forward.
The chairman of ERERA, Professor Honore Sergei Bugler, said since 1999, West African leaders made the decision to set up a regional electricity market to put all the resources together to have a pool for the huge energy potentials. He said it was aimed at setting up a framework that will attract private investors.
To bring energy, you need the production and you need also the transmission infrastructures. So WAP has worked on it for a long time, and we are now able to say that in the 2 years coming, we will have our all 14 inland countries interconnected now.
Bugler said the last of the lines that will interconnect the countries except Cape Verde, which is far into the sea, are being built and should be completed in 2019. He added that Côte d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, Guinea transmission line is also meant to be ready in 2019.
So if we have this interconnection and we have the WAP ICC fully constructed and furnished, it means that by 2020 we can have the market, the competitive market, because we can have the energy flow all over the ECOWAS geographical space.
The ERERA head said all what is needed to launch the electricity markets are in progress, with the market designed to run in 3 phases to carry along member states that are in different infrastructure development levels. He said the first phase is to harmonize legislations in the region, especially for countries already trading electricity.
What is needed is to have a transmission tariff methodology approved by ERERA, and to also work on the procedures of contracts, of contract management, and for the registration of participants, market participants. That should be approved by ERERA. And we have also to put in place market rules that are approved by ERERA.
The Secretary General of WAP, Mr. Sengi Ki Apollinaire, said Nigeria has been active in the establishment of WAP from the beginning. He said the construction of power infrastructures has been led by Nigeria, adding that it will finish interconnecting the mainland of ECOWAS by at most 2020.
Nigeria is the most advanced country in ECOWAS in implementing a market, an energy market. You have dismantled everything, and generation, transmission, you have IPPs. This will be at a regional level what we will achieve, but rather than only companies, you will have countries and state countries and even IPPs dealing, trading with others, and the WAP, through its information and coordination center, will be the one who will coordinate all these things. That is coordination of the technical, technical operation of the grid, of the whole grid, and coordinating also the trade, the energy trade through all the region.
He also noted that the construction of the coordinating center was ongoing and should be ready by 2019 or latest 2020. Apollonia said the 2020 target is critical as it will mark the beginning of the competitive energy trade in ECOWAS, just as he lauded operators in the Nigeria power sector for being active in WAP meetings.
WAP is working with his groups, and every time people will come from Nigeria to represent TCN and or other members of WAP like NBET, like Mainstream and others.
The chairman of WAP, Mr. Usman Guru Mohammed, who is also the managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, assured Herrera that all connection to its network will have to be competitively procured to make the energy trade competitive.
We took a decision that all our lines have to be procured through competitive procurement process, so that we can be able to get what we can say reasonable cost in what we can say economy of our investment.
Mohammed said TCN is working with WAP to do some of the transmission lines, especially the Northern Corridor line that will connect Nigeria to 3 other countries.
There is a certain agreement with WAP that the PIU for implementing that project will be sited here in Nigeria. We are at the final stage of recruitment of the director of the NETCO, and other key staff will be soon following. We are going to recruit all the key staff. The recruitment of the consultant also, that's what we call the main consultant, which they call owner's engineer. Actually, the evaluation was done about 2 weeks ago, and everything is moving very fine on that project. That project, all of you will need your support to ensure that that project becomes successful, especially since it's going to be cited, the implementing agency will be here in Nigeria.
He also revealed the plan of WAP to connect to the Central Africa Power Pool, which will come through Cameroon to guarantee more energy trade between both regions.
And that is where we are working on this eastern backbone, which will run from Calabar to Ikom and then to end in Kano. There is also this plan to close the loop from Katsina to Sokoto. So this eastern backbone will help in several ways. First of all, it will open Northern Cross River that has significant low voltage because of lack of high voltage transmission, and also open Taraba State. As we speak, Taraba has only single interface of transmission, which is the 132 kV substation that we plan to upgrade to 330 under the World Bank project.
Let's take a break for a short message. We'll be right back after that.
In the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, we transmit bulk electricity from power generating companies, GenCos, to distribution load centers of various distribution companies, DISCOs. Nationwide, we do not generate electricity, neither do we distribute same directly to electricity consumers. TCN has 2 business units: the Transmission Service Provider, TSP, and Independent System Operations, ISO. The ISO comprised of System Operation, SO, and Market Operation, MO. The business units all perform specialized functions under the TCN umbrella. Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, wielding power for national economic growth. This message is brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
Thanks for staying with Power Wheel. More on Power News. Mr. Babatunde Fashola, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, has said energizing the Ariaria International Market in Abia State to promote small and medium-scale enterprises, SMEs, is creating huge impact for about 37,000 shops and their owners.
The minister disclosed this after he paid a visit to the market during his recent tour of the Southeast to inspect key infrastructural projects of the federal government. He said energizing the market was as a result of partnership from the state government and the Rural Electrification Agency, helping to create a huge impact on the economy.
Small distribution projects like this can impact many more people. So if you look at 37,000 shops, where each shop has about 3 to 4 people, and multiply the impact, you are talking of over 100,000 people who are impacted because there is partnership between a state and a government, and there is policy that seeks to decentralize access to power.
He said the project handled by REA in the first phase is energizing 37,000 shops, while 50,000 shops will be energized in the second phase. Fashola also noted that it was a means of private investment with the installation of transformers, guaranteeing more supply to the beneficiaries in the markets.
You have seen in some of the shops that are benefiting from the pilot program that they say that from 3 days without energy, they are now experiencing 10 minutes without energy in a 9-hour trading cycle. That is what restructuring means. That is what change means.
He assured that on completion of the project, the shops using generators for their electricity supply currently will have cause to see a huge difference as their huge spending to power their generators will drastically reduce.
This market is spending over 7 million naira daily paying for generators. And the investors are saying we can do the same business for less. We can do it in a cleaner way. We can do it in a healthier way, and we can do it in a noiseless way. So that is what, and this is where we think the real power of small businesses, the real capacity of Made in Nigeria can be unleashed.
The minister, who also gave a progress report on the Power Sector Recovery Plan, PSRP, said providing access to electricity in smaller quantities and easier ways was captured in the plan, and that government was delivering on that.
We are telling the people who are producing power using gas, using solar, develop smaller solutions like the generator companies are doing, so you won't need licenses, and therefore go and serve people, because power has now been privatized. So let the private sector rise up to it, do smaller solutions instead of seeking to sell 10,000 megawatt, 5,000 megawatt to government, and then it is transmitted over 200 kilometers.
He said the area market electrification was a perfect example of how mini grid power generation can be operated with a distribution network.
The power is here, the distribution is here, this community is okay. We want to see more of this happening across the country, and we are on our way.
We have succeeded in achieving frequency control of 49.5 and 50.5, which is something that has not been achieved in the last 20 years of Nigerian history. But for us to play a role, very good role in the work, and for the market to be integrated, we need to synchronize the energy between Nigeria and other parts of West Africa. And Nigeria is exporting significant electricity to the West Africa, and also even the future of the market, Nigeria is seen to go to play a big role. So synchronizing the electricity of Nigeria and the rest of West Africa is key to the success of the trade.
You're still watching Power Wheel. Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, has led the delegation of the ECOWAS Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority and members of the West African Power Pool on an assessment tour to the 330/132 kV Apo transmission substation and the 132/33 kV Apo substation in Abuja.
Speaking at the 132/33 kV Apo substation after the familiarization tour, the ERERA chairman, Professor Honore Segi Bugler, said he was impressed about the huge investments of TCN that have gone into building and operating the substations.
I'm impressed because I know how much these infrastructures costs and seeing that you have so much, I've seen that TCN is taking the market serious.
Bugler reiterated the launch of the regional electricity market by June 29 in Cotonou, Benin Republic, saying that it's necessitated the tour of the various ECOWAS state members for sensitization for efficient participation.
And seeing this infrastructure, I'm confident that Nigeria will lead the market because we need transmission infrastructure to make the market real.
He urged other ECOWAS member states to key into the regional electricity market as it will be beneficial to them in terms of trading electricity at competitive rates. He noted that they need to build more transmission and generation infrastructures to fully benefit from trading in the markets. The Secretary General of WAP, Mr. Sengi Ki Apollinaire, lauded the TCN Managing Director, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, for the opportunity given to him to assess the transmission substations of TCN.
See, the first time I'm visiting facilities, electricity facilities, so really I'm grateful to him. I was also impressed, and I would like to thank him and congratulate him for the work he's doing here, because I can see a lot of investment that are moved and that will upgrade and increase the capacity of your system.
He said with the launch of the regional electricity market, member countries, including Nigeria, could get more loans from donor agencies to improve their power infrastructures.
The principle is really to get loan, to get grant from the donors and make it available to the country so that they can invest in the international electricity system so that we can reach this stage of making a market, a regional electricity market.
Mohammed, who also led the delegation of the management of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, briefed the NEC commissioners of the requirement for the launch of the regional electricity markets. He identified the need to synchronize the grid frequency along with the generation companies, GENCOs, to match with that of other countries to enhance bilateral electricity trade.
If we are to expand the market, we have to synchronize. And synchronizing our side and the side of Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire is still a challenge which we have to solve, and that's the area that we will need your support. Yes, we have worked very hard to move from the former regime where we are. We have moved to 49.5 and 50.5, but we need to move to 49.8 and 50.2, and that will require some additional work.
Stay put as we bring you more news in the Power Flash segment. We will be here next week for another exciting and informative edition. Until then, you can reach us through our YouTube channel and other social media platforms showing on your screen. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. Bye for now.